Hey guys, and welcome to the dating game with me, Troy Francis. Today, we're going to get straight into the video, which is about the one seduction skill that all men must master in order to keep her hooked long term and never leave you. Okay? What is the one seduction skill that every man must master? Well, fundamentally, it is the ability to walk away. Okay. It doesn't sound like a seduction skill. It sounds kind of like an anti seduction skill. And in a way, you could argue that it is. But unless you have the ability to walk away, if something that she does goes against a boundary that you have, a red line in the sand, maybe that's about infidelity, or maybe it's about disrespect, or maybe it's just something financial, or, she does something that for you is just, you can't allow that within your life, you are prepared to say, okay, enough is enough, goodbye, have a nice life, and then leave. Okay. And that's whether you guys have been together for 1 year or 1 month or 1 day or 100 years. Okay, at some point you may have to exercise this ability to say, I'm out, and she needs to know that you have the ability to do that. Okay, now let's unpack this a little bit more, because people will think, well, okay, well, that sounds all very well in theory, but how do you get to the point where you are sure that you're able to do that? Now, the reality is that most men do not have this quality. So, as simple as it sounds to say, yeah, just have the ability to walk away, bro, and people can pay lip service and say, yes, okay, fine, box ticked. But most people in practice don't do this. And the reason they don't do it is because they don't believe that they have other options in the dating marketplace, in the relationship or the sexual marketplace. Okay. They have lucked out with this one woman that they've managed to get into a relationship with. Maybe they're married or whatever. And intuitively, deep down, they know that they're never going to be able to get anybody else, or they think that they're never going to be able to get anybody else. Their skills aren't sharp as far as the dating game is concerned. They have probably let themselves go. They're out of shape. Maybe financially, they're not doing as well as they can. Maybe they're not firing on all cylinders in a way that they used to do. Now, this ironically is compounded when you get into a long term relationship, because it's been shown in studies that when men get into long-term relationships, and particularly when they cohabitate, what tends to happen is that they lose their edge. Certainly, as far as testosterone is concerned, testosterone reduces when you get into a cohabiting style relationship. So, what that means is you're even then less likely, you're in a less optimal position to up and leave if things go wrong, or if, as I say, she does something that goes against your fundamental boundaries or tenets of what you deem acceptable. So, what this means is that you need to be working on yourself the whole time. And I don't mean it in a kind of cheesy self-help, yeah, bro, be the best man you can be kind of a way, although that is true. You should aim to be the best man that you can be, but it's something more than that. Okay. It's about sharpening the iron every day. Okay. Because you never know when you're going to have to go out there into the battlefield. Again, I'm using the battlefield here as an analogy for going out into the cold, harsh world outside of the relationship once more. Because, like, we all like a bit of comfort. We all like to have that one person who's there and we can snuggle up and we can feel comfortable and we can feel loved and we can feel safe. Men like this as much, if not more, than women like it. But the harsh reality of relationships, as we know, is that 50% of marriages end in divorce. 70% of divorces are initiated by women. Um, and so there's a lot of guys out there who are getting left high and dry, okay? For one reason or another. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not saying it's impossible to have a successful long-term relationship or marriage, of course. But the reality is a lot of guys are messing up somewhere along the line, okay? A lot of women are behaving badly as well. I'm not denying that. But we can only control what is within our control. And what is within our control, okay, as individuals, as human beings, is our own behavior, okay? The habits that we have in place, the things that we do on a daily basis, okay? So, yes, you want to be, as much as before when you were in the game and you were out there and you were looking to meet new women, you need to be working on exactly the same things while you're in the relationship. Arguably, you need to be working on them even more, okay? Because as has been said before, when you're in a long-term relationship, you're playing the game really on hard mode. Okay, it's not so difficult when you get the hang of it to be the kind of fly-by-night playboy who jets in and out and meets different women, and it's all very casual, and they never really get to know him very well, and there's a lot of mystery there, and you're in this perpetual honeymoon period, really. Okay, now when you get into something longer term, particularly when you guys are living together, then the shit really hits the fan because then at that point there's the mystery is largely eradicated, not necessarily totally, but it's certainly much reduced. It is much more predictable, okay? And fundamentally, living together, you haven't really got anywhere else to go. I mean, you might have business trips and things like this, but for the most part, she knows where you're going to be 24/7, and that reduces competition anxiety, okay? Because at the moment, if you guys were say living apart and different cities or different parts of the city, whatever, then with the best will in the world, there's always that little doubt in the back of her mind. She doesn't quite know where you are. She doesn't necessarily know, oh, is he with her tonight? Is something else happening? There's that little sense of anxiety and sort of nascent jealousy there. Now, I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but it is something that kind of keeps people on their toes, and it keeps people. It maintains that high desire. Okay, when you start to cohabitate, you live together, all of that goes out the window because the opportunity has been really largely taken away for that to happen. Okay, not completely because you might be out for the night or she might be out for the night or whatever, but for the most part, that is taken away or certainly severely reduced. Okay, so you need to ensure that you are on your game at all times as far as the fundamentals are concerned. Now, the fundamentals, of course, are how you look. So the baseline thing with that is fitness. Okay, you need to be training minimum 5 days a week, I would say, probably 6, and I would say doing some sort of activity, even if it's just a very short walk, 7 days a week. Like on a Sunday, you don't have to like absolutely smash it if you don't want to, if you've been working out the other 6 days, but you might at least want to go for a walk or like a gentle swim or something like that. You want to be maintaining that regardless of your relationship status, okay? You also want to be eating right. It can be very easy when you get into the relationship to allow your eating habits to sort of start to come apart a little bit. You guys are buying junk food together, you're getting takeouts together, you're kind of eating slightly more unhealthy things and indulging with each other. And a little bit of that, okay, fine, you can let yourself off the hook, but too much, and you're going to turn into a fat schlub. And guess what? Her desire for you is going to reduce. You also want to be, looking after your appearance, making sure that you're dressing sharply. Now, the strange thing with this is that you might actually come up against some resistance from your girlfriend, from your significant other when you're doing these things, because she might be looking at it going, well, hang on a minute, like you found me now, we're together. So why are you making all this effort? Why not just go around in sweatpants and a hoodie and stop? Why are you so concerned about your appearance? And the truth is, it might not. It's not because you're going to cheat on her or because you're going to step out on her necessarily. It's just that you have to maintain your edge in a world, because you have to be prepared that at some point, if something may go wrong, you're going to have to be able to leave, and you're going to want to be effective once more out there in the real world. And the other side of this is not even to do with the relationship or the dating stuff so much. It's just that you want to be respected by your peers around you. You want to look good as a couple, okay? Like you want her to look fucking great, and you want you to look great as well. You don't look like a couple of fucking bags of fucking potato flour, or sorry, bags of potato peelings. You want to look like a sharp, cool couple together, okay? Right? Then she's going to get into that because she's going to like taking pictures with you. She can stick them on her Instagram. Her friends are going to like them, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so you've really got to make sure that you are working on all of the self-development stuff that you were working on prior to the relationship. But the reason for that is not so much the things in themselves. It's not because, oh right, so I've got a six-pack, so she's going to love me forever because I've got this great six-pack and that's all it takes. That's not all it takes. The six-pack becomes irrelevant if it was ever really that relevant in the first place. Okay, so it's as far as her attraction to you is concerned. I mean, yeah, it's a nice to have, but what's really going to keep her attracted is your mental frame. And if your mental frame is, I am with you, I love you, we are together, I will be with you, until a fuck up do us part, right? Which is kind of how it normally goes. If you cross the boundaries that I've set in the relationship, the agreement that we've made in this relationship. If you do something against that, if you go and cheat or you step out or, something else equally bad, then I'm just going to up and leave. And the power in that is incredibly strong because, as I said, most guys don't have it. And what that means is that she knows that on some level, even though, yes, she's got you and she has got you nailed down and you are in this relationship together and, there is probably an expectation of monogamy, depending on what your agreement has been. Even with all of those things in place, you're still not a walkover, right? You're still not somebody that she can just do anything and she's going to get away with it. I've made this mistake in the past before I learned about frame, before I understood the dynamics of these things. When I was a lot more needy, when I was a lot more overly invested in women that I dated, I would basically, they could get away with anything and I would still be there. Okay. And not only does that encourage bad behavior, it's also incredibly unattractive from a female to male perspective, because what guy is just going to let the woman that he's with walk all over him? Okay. What kind of self-respect does he have? And also, what a stark lack of options such a guy must have that he doesn't just immediately say, well, look, sod you, I'm going to go over here instead. So that is the number one thing that you need. If you want to keep her, if you want to get her to stay hooked over the long term, it is fostering this ability to put your foot down and walk away if it becomes necessary, and for her to know about that. And as I said, in order to do that, you have to make sure that you are razor sharp at all times, just in case it becomes necessary for you to make an exit, all right? That's what it comes down to, okay? The self-development thing. And again, as I say, I have an issue somewhat with self-development being overly talked about in the dating space, because it's not just about having the muscles. It's not just about the suits that you wear or the watch that you've got or anything like that. Those are nice to haves, but ultimately it's about creating emotion. However, at the same time, when you go out and about, if you're very unpracticed as far as your dating skills are concerned and your edge, and also you look like a pile of crap, then it's not going to fare you very well. So you want to be in the best possible shape that you can be at all times. You want to be in fighting form at all times, just in case, okay? That will keep her on her toes. It will also keep her attracted. It will ensure that she knows that you would potentially have options if it became necessary, and it means that she's much more likely to continue to desire you and to want to stay with you over the long term. Anyway, I hope that this video has helped. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a like on the way out. Write a comment below. Let me know what you think about this issue. Do subscribe to the channel. Hit notifications, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.